Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and welcome to A Mistake. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the newly double buffed Exploud in the Great League. Exploud's fast move Astonish got a buff, and its nuke charge move Boom Burst now costs less energy. Boom Burst is genuinely a fun move to run, as it does a heck of a lot of damage, but Exploud's fast move Astonish, even after the buff, is incredibly terrible. Despite that, I'm not going to let that stop me from trying to boom burst everything that I possibly can. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Boom Burst Exploud in the Great League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a terrible lead, Cresselia into Lickitung. Immediate save switch into Exploud, and my opponent is going to respond with Medicham. I did need to bait out the counter user, so I am happy to see the Medicham here. Medicham goes for the Ice Punch. Exploud, with a fraction of HP, makes it to the Boom Burst. Do they respect it? They do not. Get that Medicham out of here. Lickitung gets the farm down, but Exploud has one switch advantage against all odds from a counter user. Lickitung is going to fire off the Power Whip. That does quite a solid amount of damage to this Diggersby. Diggersby now going to fire off the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands will deal some solid chip damage and get an attack debuff as well. That is quite nice. They're going to be firing off the charge move. They actually go for the Body Slam now. Body Slam not going to do a whole lot of damage, especially now that it's been debuffed. They're firing off another charge move here. They're going for another Body Slam, and I'm just looking to overfarm as much as I can. In the back, opponent has a Carbink, and oh my goodness, they have absolutely zero fast move pressure remaining against the Diggersby. Diggersby going for Scorching Sands number 2. That's going to get both shields from the Carbink. Carbink trying to farm down, and they're not going to be able to get there. Diggersby can just very comfortably shield up the rock slide and make it to Scorching Sands number 3. And then Cresselia should be in a great position to close out this game. Scorching Sands connects, and to add insult to injury, gets the attack debuff onto the Carbink as well. Firing off the Grass Knot here. Grass Knot into the Carbink will get the Carbink low. Opponent, switch clock is up. They send back in the Lickitung. Lickitung firing off the charge move into the Cresselia, but Cresselia is just too healthy. Cresselia going for the Moonblast as soon as it gets there. Moonblast into the Lickitung will be enough to KO. Back in comes the Carbink. Carbink firing off another charge move here, but this is not gonna KO. Cresselia just too bulky, able to withstand the damage from Carbink and make the Grass Knot. Grass Knot KOs the Carbink and secures the win. Moving into the next match, hitting Cresselia into Swampert. And you're going to notice for a lot of these wins, to get wins with Boom Burst, having very favorable alignment definitely helps things out quite a bit, as it is just incredibly rough to use. The good news is I have great alignment in this particular matchup. So I lead the Cresselia into the Swampert, they save switch into the Stunfisk, and now I can respond with Diggersby. Diggersby going for the Scorching Sands. That does quite a lot of damage, and I will be able to tank this Earthquake. Earthquake not going to KO, and I'm looking to overfarm with the Diggersby and go for another Scorching Sands. This will be lethal, and I've overfarmed so I can potentially make a move versus the Swampert. Opponent sends in a Medicham, but I'm still able to get to the move. The overfarm allows Diggersby to make it to the Scorching Sands and get an attack drop as well. Opponent is going to switch back into the Swampert, and they are just core broken by Cresselia. They have zero good checks to it, and now I'm in a very comfortable position to win this match. My plan is I'm just going to save shields for my Exploud and hopefully boom burst something in the end game. That was honestly the goal with this team. Like, Exploud, it needs all the help that it can possibly get. So I'm running a very meta and a very tanky core around it. And my goal is, win or lose, I'm just trying to boom burst. They go for the Earthquake. That does quite a lot of damage, but Earthquake was nerfed. And due to that nerf, it looks like that may have been the difference between me actually surviving that move. And now we have Exploud versus the Medicham. Could I go for the Disarming Voice? Yes. But that's not what I'm running Exploud for. Exploud farming up, looking to make it to the Boom Burst. They're firing off another Ice Punch. Exploud makes it to the Boom Burst, and it's all over for the opponent. Hello, Medicham. Goodbye, Medicham. And that's a good game. Picking up a tough lead in the next match, Cresselia into Sableye. I do have two better responses in the back, so I am going to save switch into Exploud, and my opponent responds with Dubwool, and this is not what I was hoping to see. Dubwool is something that I have to bait out. Of course, Diggersby not going to do well here, but my Astonish does absolutely nothing to the Dubwool. So even if I am able to land the Boom Burst, which I am, it does massive damage, but importantly, it is not enough to KO. So I'm not able to force switch here, which is a bit unfortunate, but the nice thing is I will get a nice farm down with my Cresselia, and Cresselia up energy can put in a lot of work versus Sableye. They throw 4 double kicks here, so they're short of the payback. It is going to be a wild charge, actually. So a pretty cool moveset from the opponent. Back in comes Sableye, and I have the Moonblast loaded. Moonblast does not one-shot, but it will leave a mark. I'm able to grab a shield in the back. Opponent is running a regular Charizard, and Charizard just going for the Dragon Claw here. My guess is they're just trying to get chip damage and wanting me to no shield, but by not baiting the Blast Burn, I can just save my shields. I can overfarm to the Hyper Beam, throw it just before they make their next move, and now, even though they were able to get some chip damage with the Dragon Claw, that's just not going to be enough for them to win this game. Foul Play will connect, but Diggersby is still quite healthy and gets to hide behind 2 shields here. I'm firing off the Scorching Sands. That is going to be shielded up by my opponent. They're firing off another charge move here, and if this is the Foul Play, which it is, that's not going to KO. I'm not going to be able to make it to another move though, so I'm going to need to send in the Cresselia. But I have saved my 2 shields up until now, so I may as well use one on the Foul Play so I can make it to the Moonblast. And at this point, they have taken enough chip damage that the Moonblast, plus a couple Psycho Cuts, will get the KO. Tough leads continue in the next match. Cresselia into Alolan Sandslash. Immediate safe switch into Exploud, and the opponent is going to respond with Medicham. We already know what to do with Medicham. If they go for the Psychic, I'm just going to get KO'd here, but the opponent goes for the Ice Punch, and that lets me make it to the Boom Burst. Boom Burst incoming to the Medicham, but they shield it. No, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, that is incredibly unfortunate there. The entire goal of the team was to land Boom Bursts, and I mean, I baited out the Medicham, which is good for winning, but man, I really wanted to land that Boom Burst. I'm going to be able to tank charge moves for days here. They're going for Ice Punches. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I'm going to overfarm and then finally go for the Moonblast. Moonblast into the Medicham will get them low, gets the attack debuff as well, although honestly that isn't particularly consequential. They fire off another Ice Punch, and now that I have shield advantage, honestly for winning the game, getting shield advantage is preferred, but win or lose, my goal is just to land Boom Bursts, and in the back they have Sableye, so they are absolutely core broken by the Diggersby in the back. Diggersby going for the Scorching Sands, that's going to connect onto the Sableye and get an attack drop as well. That is incredibly nice. Sableye firing off the Foul Play, that's debuffed, and that just does absolutely nothing. XL Diggersby is an absolute menace to society. Here, I'm actually going for an undercharge on the Scorching Sands, so I can get a nice farm down. I get a second attack debuff, so the RNG definitely in my favor in this particular match. They're making it to another charge move, but again, I don't have to shield. They have Shadow Claw on their 2 remaining Pokemon, so they're never going to be able to farm me down. So all I have to do is just save my shields. My Diggersby's very low, but they can't ever farm me down here, so I should be in a pretty nice situation. I'm very close to a move on the Cresselia, so all I really have to do is force the final shield, and then I can just combo play with the Cresselia. So I'm farming up and firing off the Scorching Sands. Opponent recognizes that it's over, and they let the Sandslash go. We see a terrific lead in the next match, Cresselia into Medicham. After seeing a lot of Medicham in the back, it's definitely nice to catch a Medicham on the lead. I'm going to look to farm up with the Cresselia. Opponent goes for a catch onto the Lickitung. I'm going to bank all my energy for later and respond with Diggersby. Diggersby is able to tank multiple Power Whips here. They go for Power Whip number 1. I'm looking to farm up and go for the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands, of course, does have that ability to lower their attack. And Scorching Sands does get the attack drop. That is incredibly nice. And now I can easily tank a Power Whip. My opponent, knowing they need multiple moves, is going to go for the Body Slam. I'm farming up with the Diggersby. They're going for another Body Slam here. So they are just going for as much chip damage as they can possibly get. I'm farming up to 100 and I'm going for the Hyper Beam. The Scorching Sands wouldn't quite KO, so I do want to guarantee the KO with the Hyper Beam. Medicham gets the farm down, but its energy is useless against Cresselia. I go for the Moonblast, but it's caught on Registeel, and my opponent's team has worked. They baited out the ground type, and now I'm stuck with Exploud going against the Registeel. This is so bad. This is absolutely awful. They go for the Focus Blast. Exploud, I believe, can also learn Fire Blast, so I'm just going to farm up to 100, pretend I have Fire Blast, go for a Disarming Voice, and I actually get a shield. Okay, not bad. Not bad. We will 100% take that. They're firing off the Focus Blast into the Exploud. I'm shielding and again looking to farm up and fire off the Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice into the Reggie, does get shielded. Opponent is going to send in Medicham. I bank the Disarming for later and switch into the Cresselia. Cresselia will be hit with the Psychic from the Medicham. Cresselia continuing to farm. Medicham firing off another charge move here. They're going for another Psychic. Psychic is resisted, but it does do slightly more damage compared to Ice Punch. Firing off the Moonblast. Moonblast will connect, and I get an attack debuff. In these sets, I was very, very lucky with my debuff luck. They make it to one final charge move. It is the Ice Punch, and I'm able to get the Psycho Cut farm down. Back in comes the Registeel, and I'm going to need a combination of resisted charge moves to get this win. Moonblast connects. I get another debuff. You've got to be kidding me. What is the luck with the debuffs in these sets? I go for another Moonblast. I get a second debuff as well. I bring in Exploud, and Exploud wins CMP. To be fair, those final two debuffs didn't end up mattering, but what are the odds? Oh my goodness. We see a familiar lead in the next match, Cresselia into Swampert. Incredibly good matchup here. I'm going to look to farm up and fire off the Grass Knot just before they make the back-to-back Hydros. But my opponent reads me like a book as they catch the Grass Knot on Medicham. So the good news is that my opponent is completely core broken by Cresselia. But the bad news is I'm getting outplayed. They made a very nice catch, and they've saved a ton of energy on their Swampert. Medicham is firing off a charge move into Cresselia. I'm able to tank that no problem and go for the Moonblast. Moonblast into Medicham, plus a couple Psycho Cuts will get the KO. The Swampert did leave with 8 Mud Shots, which is the equivalent of an Earthquake. Swampert comes back in, and they do not throw their energy, so I'm firing off the Grass Knot. Grass Knot will be shielded by the Swampert. They have so much energy, and they want to put it to good use. Farming up a couple extra Mud Shots and going for the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will connect. I go for the Grass Knot. Very nice energy awareness by my opponent as they play to the CMP tie that they win. I'm going to commit the shield. I want to try and get shields down here so I can boom burst something. So I fire off the Grass Knot. I force their final shield. They're farming up a ton of energy with the Swampert, and here I decide, you know what? I'm just going to let this go. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to send in Diggersby and look to go for the KO with the Scorching Sands. I can tank at Hydro. Not too worried about that. XL Diggersby, it's very, very bulky. Part of the reason why I ran this core with Exploud, so I could hopefully save some shields for Exploud. Scorching Sands is going to get the Swampert low. Swampert, they're firing off the Hydro. And you know what? I'm leaving it all up to Exploud. In comes Exploud in the back. It's a Shadow Shiny Grimer. What a flex. And the opponent is going to be firing off their charge move. They go for the Mud Bomb. I'm farming up with Exploud. I make it to the Boom Burst. This is going to be goodbye, Grimer. In the back, it's the Swampert. Exploud looking for the farm down, but Swampert with 1 HP makes the Hydro, KOs Exploud, and we lose the game. Hopping into the final match, picking up a tricky lead, Cresselia into Golbat. Matchup like this, I definitely wish that I was running Future Sight. Golbat farming up energy. I go for the switch into the Exploud. Is it going to be the Shadow Ball? Yes, it is. You love to see it. Opponent now sends in Steelix, and I have nothing for this. I have a Fairy move and a normal move. I wish I was running Fire Blast, but I'm not, and then the game lags, so I'm like, you know what? I may as well throw a Boom Burst. It's resisted, it's debuffed, but we're still boom bursting our opponents. That still does a lot of damage for a resisted move. What the heck? I send back in Cresselia. Cresselia will be able to absorb the Breaking Swipe, no problem, and then go for the Grass Knot. Since this is the non-Shadow Steelix, the debuff Grass Knot is actually not going to KO here, and they are going to make it to another Breaking Swipe. So, unfortunately, I'm just going to have to take this damage. Breaking Swipe will connect. I'm looking to farm up with the Cresselia and fire off the Grass Knot before they're able to make another move. And even just hitting that few of bubbles will still get the KO. Opponent sends in the Golbat. I'm bringing in the Diggersby. They're going for the Poison Fang, and that's fine. That's debuffing me. I'm not going to shield. I'm going to save my shield for moves that actually do damage. I'm farming up. Opponent sends in Jellicent, and this is going to be a very tricky endgame. Our switch clocks are misaligned, and that's what I have to work with here. I'm farming up. They're going to be firing off Surfs, and here's where I need to use my shields. Unfortunately, my defense has been debuffed by a Poison Fang, so I need to get out of here, if at all possible. I'm firing off the Scorching Sands. I'm able to get the shield, continuing to farm with the Diggersby, and going for yet another Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands into the Jellicent, will get the final shield. I farm up, switch into Cresselia, and I don't get the Surf catch. they're going to fire off the charge move here. It's the Shadow Ball. Switch timer is up, and back in comes Golbat. Unfortunately, I only have resisted moves here. I'm firing off the Moonblast. Moonblast is going to get them low. They're firing off the charge move. They need the Shadow Ball to KO here, but this will set up a farm down. Quick attack on Diggersby, coming in clutch here as I get the farm down. Diggersby makes the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands not going to be enough to KO the Jellicent here. Jellicent able to withstand that damage, but I get the attack drop. That is massive. I'm going to be able to tank the Surf here. The question is, can I make another Scorching Sands? Diggersby able to outpace barely, making it to the Scorching Sands. And against all odds, and after way too many matches, we secure the win. All in all, while I had a lot of fun getting to Boomburst things, do not run Exploud. Astonish is still absolutely awful. These were basically the highlights of the best games that I could get with Exploud, but I ended up losing way more games than I won, even with running like a very bulky core around it. Exploud is just a massive liability in nearly every situation, and basically the only time that I really found success with it was just people not knowing how much damage Boomburst did on the safe switch. So this is definitely more of a video for fun and not a team that I would recommend if you're looking to gain elo. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.